Hey brothers and sisters, welcome back to your girl's channel. So today we're going to be talking about love scams that happen online. Victims of online romance scams were estimated to have been scammed out of $547 million in 2021. A lot of the times when we find ourselves feeling lonely, we try to find ways to cure our loneliness, and one of the ways is dating apps. We put ourselves out there in the hopes that we meet someone where we can connect with on such a level that we can actually have an offline relationship. I mean, that is the goal. Unfortunately, not everyone on these apps are looking for love. Some are looking to scam people out of every dime that they have. And in some cases, they scam people out of money they don't even have. Let's get right into it. But before we do, I do have one little tiny request. I ask that you like this video and hit subscribe since you're already here, and fellowship with your girl. So in 2018, a woman by the name of Rebecca had been single for about 2 years. She had a bad breakup and then swore men off, but evidently a friend has suggested that she try online dating, and Rebecca thought, you know what do I gotta lose? So she signs up to OkCupid. She matches with Matthew, who is 38 years old.
Felt very real, and I think that the reason why things felt so real early on is because they're obviously very practiced in what they're doing. How mine started was he was traveling abroad with his son. He was working on a contract, and his son was about to start school in a few short months, and this trip was going to be sort of the last time that he'd be able to travel so freely with his son. So when he presented me with this issue of, hey, my card stopped working, can you float me some money because I'm here with Evans needs stuff, and we need to provide, can you float me some cash, and that's how it started. And it was a very plausible idea because he was using sort of real world examples that I could relate to.
So right off the bat, one of the ways that scammers are able to manipulate their victims into sending them cash is by creating an urgent situation where they need the money now. Something along the lines of, I just landed and my card got declined. I have no cash on me for food or for the hotel. Can you spot me something until I clear out the issue with my bank, and I'll pay you right back? And it's when they say, I'll pay you right back, that makes people think, okay. Because if you're asking people for money and you're just like, yeah, I need this much, but you're not insinuating you're going to pay them back, that may possibly make people a little more resistant. But when you offer to pay them right back, they're going to feel a little bit more secure and confident.
I work, I have my own living expenses. I was trying to live my own life, and I was floating their life at the same time. He had a financier. I'd get a call from the financier. The financier would help me, set things up so that I could, get more revenue to send. Like I took out money from my 401k.
Now, I remember when I was like 19 years old and I started dating this guy. And I remember when he first asked me for cash. We were at a gas station and it was something small. It was like $5. He was like, oh, do you have $5? And I was like, here. But I remember that it progressed. Like he continually kept asking me for money. And literally that situation lasted about 4 months because I was like, oh, I gotta go. I can't. It's something that is emasculating when a man is asking you for money.
I'm sure you're asking yourself, why wasn't I telling people what was going on? And the reason is that when this began, he specifically asked me not to.
So now, when someone first asks you for money, they usually start with asking you for a small amount because this is them testing the waters. They're trying to see if you're comfortable with giving them money. Now, if you say no, then they'll just move on to someone else. But if you say yes and you give them, let's say $50, now they know that you're their target.
I needed to pay rent for the place he was staying. Evans was getting bored. Could I send iTunes gift cards? The codes for iTunes gift cards to keep him occupied. But the numbers just kept getting larger and larger. Things like he needed to pay the people that were drilling the oil. I was basically floating his business.
So after this man scammed Rebecca out of an enormous amount of cash, she, rightfully so, started asking him about when he was going to pay it back.
He promised me that when he got back and fixed everything, he would give me all the money that, I had spent funding him. At the end, when I was just at my lowest point, and I said to him, look, this is my lowest point. You need to come back. You need to fix this. I have nothing more that I can give you. My world has gone to shit, and it's because of you. So come back and fix this like you promised me. You said you would. I'm really not kidding. I'm at a low point where I'm thinking about things that I would never under reasonable circumstances think about. I'm thinking suicide. He said, well, you have to do what you have to do. I will never forget that for as long as I live.
Now, I just want to pause on something. Scammers have no remorse. Whether you have lost your life savings or you're drowning deep in debt due to taking out loans because you were trying to help them, whether you become homeless, scammers do not care. But they extort as much money as they can get out of you. And if you were to end up unalive yourself because of the misery that they caused, that would actually make them feel more relieved because then they don't have to deal with the aftermath. Proverbs 20:17 reads, bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Like so many other sins, there's a temporary pleasure that comes with it, but the consequences of that sin will come. Imagine chewing on bread and having it slowly turn from a warm, soft, and good taste to cold, hard gravel in your mouth. This is a con man's game, of which he seeks financial gain through deception. The bread obtained by ungodly means will weigh down the one who deceived. The bread will ultimately break the teeth of the deceiver, and the bread will weigh like stone in his stomach. Rebecca has since bounced back from that horrendous encounter. Her motto is, they may have taken everything else, but do not let them take your life. Her bouts of depression finally subsided. She had to file bankruptcy, and she worked on rebuilding her financial life. Our second story comes from Barb, who is 60 years old, lives in Ohio, and decided to go on a Christian mingle dating site. Her hopes was to find a man of faith. She matched with a man named Martin, and almost immediately he started to love bomb her. Love bombing is basically when you meet somebody and almost instantaneously they start pouring out an abundance of compliments, affection, attention, and gifts. They'll say things like, I've never met anyone like you and you are my soulmate.
I met this fellow on Christian Mingle, and I thought I was going to be safe on Christian Mingle. We just started talking, normal conversation as it kept progressing, and we were getting to know each other better. We got more comfortable talking to each other. Right away, he started just saying how he loved me and how he wants to be with me and wants to marry me. And I think part of it was the attraction, and part of it was that he was saying he was a Christian. We were praying together, and that's what attracted me, because I was trying to find a Christian man.
Proverbs 29 verse 5-6 reads, a person who flatters his neighbor is spreading a net for him to step into. To an evil person, sin is bait in a trap, but a righteous person runs away from it and is glad. Let's go back to the prayer part. See, this is why 1 John 4 says, beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see if they are from God. Just because someone says that they are a Christian, it means nothing. Not only do we test the spirit, but we have to see their fruit.
The first time he's asked for money is because he couldn't get that transaction to go through. So it was $25,000 that he needed to have these machines delivered to him. I said, well, I don't have $25,000 and I'm not involving my family or anything like that. I says, I can't do it. He says, well, I talked to the company and they said they would take like $5,000 to start with, and they would send maybe a couple machines or even one machine to even start what he needed to start. I'll agree to give you the $5,000, but you're going to have to give me a contract that you're going to pay me back plus a fee. I said, I'm not going to do it until I have a contract. So it had this attorney signed on it had his name signed on it, and then what the agreement was for. So I had a transfer wire made up, and then the $5,000 did go to him.
So notice how this transaction started off with $5,000, and that phony contract that he had drafted to fool her, she unfortunately fell for it. Now pay close attention and see what this man did next in order to scam more money out of her. And I'm going to say that this was next level. I mean, these scammers are just something else.
They were sending him some money that they did owe him and stuff because he had to pay for the crew. He says, we're going to have to send the money directly to you. I says, oh, okay. And this was supposed to have been like $2.5 million in this locked steel box that was supposed to have been delivered to me. I gave him my information that he needed so they could send this money directly to me. Because I told him, I said, well, if I get that money delivered to me, I want to have my money out of there so I can pay my loans off and get these loans out of the way. He says, oh yeah, we'll take care of that. I'll give you the combination and everything. And I says, okay. So that was the motivator there. Well, it was going through different countries and I was tracking the package. And everything was going smoothly until it got to Costa Rica. They wanted $33,000 something for insurance reasons to continue the package to get to me. We were going back and forth trying to see what we could pay just to get the package going again. I got all the loans to raise the money for $33,850. They started delivering it, and then when it got to Mexico City, they needed more money then, more than what the $33,000 was, like $56,000.
So quick summary. He has $2 million in cold hard cash that he was shipping to her, and she was tracking this package. Whatever happened to wire transfer? Like, who has $2 million in cash? And even worse, who sends this kind of amount by mail?
And then that's when I completely stopped. I says, I can't do this anymore. I feel sick. I can't do it. I says, I'm sorry. I was losing sleep. I was sick. My emotions were really running high. He says, well, you can't let me lose all our money. This is our money. You know, he just kept including me as this is going to be our money, and this will be something for our future, and I'm wanting to retire. And I just kept, getting driven because of this package, and the money was going to be there, and I can pay my loans, and we can live our life, as a normal couple. I already told him, I says, I'm really deep into this already with the money situation. 6 loans.
Barb took out 6 loans, which totaled up to $56,482.27. And do you remember the tracking website that Barb was using to track the $2 million package? Well, it turns out that tracking website was created the same month that Martin sent the supposed package. That tracking website letting her know that the package was in Costa Rica and now in Mexico, and that they needed X amount of dollars to release the package, was all a scam. The pictures that Martin used were completely photoshopped. Even the hand holding the document with the supposed writing, Photoshop. When he sent Barb these Photoshop pictures, she stated that she had slightly doubted that these were really his photos, but she felt so in love that she wanted to believe it was him. Another thing he did was he sent her his driver's license. Now, I don't know about you, but his picture looks like a LinkedIn profile pic. Who wears a suit to the DMV? Furthermore, the expiration date usually matches the month and date of your birthday, and you can see here that it doesn't. Barb stopped all communication with him and blocked him on all accounts. I quickly want to interrupt and say that my camera was overfilled with videos and it had stopped recording unbeknownst to me. So I will finish this with a mouthpiece. So unfortunately, when it comes to love scams, it's hard to get your money back. The best thing that you can do is use discernment. You should never, under no circumstances, give money to anyone, especially someone you've never met. If they have an emergency and need cash, why would you be the first person that they would ask? Someone that is a complete stranger, and especially someone that you have no relationship with. I mean, they should have someone in their life that they can turn to. So in the event if they don't, then let them take out a loan and figure out how to resolve their emergency situation. Don't put yourself on the line like that because you are lonely and are craving attention. The attention coming at a price is never worth it. It's like you are paying someone $50,000 to pay attention to you. That's an expensive attention. I pray you use the sermon and allow the Holy Spirit to lead you. Until next time, God bless you.